Hello guys, welcome back to Custom Gamer. My name is Daz and this is a show where we talk about level design while playing cool maps. And finally we have some new cool maps to play. This is Overawe. It was released a day or two ago on Planet Phillip. It is by Mr. Flanker. And it's set in basically just one giant kind of area with a kind of sniper harassing you throughout the entire map. Well, most of it anyway. And I suppose the bullet point list of things I really enjoyed about this map are the lighting and the use of this one huge area. It gets a lot of mileage out of just one big area like this, which is great to see. And the combat at the end, which I won't spoil just yet, just in case you haven't played, but it's an excellent final combat in this mod. So, whenever I see like big kind of vista areas in games, I always feel like it's a real shame that you only really see them once and then you kind of move on. And I really enjoy it when, you know, maps, mods, games, whatever, kind of have this big set piece area which is constantly reused throughout the entire area or map. And this level is a great example of that, where you have this huge open area that's used multiple times and the gameplay changes as you progress through it. And even just speaking on a technical kind of level designed tangent for a moment, you're putting so much time and effort into these big vista areas, like constructing them, making sure they look great, setting up all the lighting and all this kind of stuff. And if the player's just going to take one look at it and then move on to a new area, it just feels like such a waste of time in essence, really. And you're using a lot of resources with regards to you know, performance and all these brushes and all of this stuff. So if you can work out a way to get a lot more mileage out of these vista areas, it's generally a very good idea. Again, we can talk about more of that when we get there. So I just picked up the shotgun here, and it's an interesting placement for the shotgun because it's entirely possible to miss it completely and just drop down below and yeah, not pick it up, which kind of puts you in a little bit of a pickle for the next section. It's kind of interesting choice here to have the shotgun as kind of an exploration reward rather than a natural progression through the map. I think if I was going to change something here, it would be give the player a pistol that the player will definitely find here, and have the shotgun in the same place but have it as like a bonus. So, you know, if the player explores, he'll find this shotgun and it'll be better equipped for the next section. But as it stands, just getting to this section with just a crowbar and no shotgun, if you miss it, just feels like it punishes the player a little bit too much, I think, considering what's about to happen. So here you get a sense of the area, and it is absolutely huge. Again, from a technical point, there's a couple of issues here. Like, for instance, you'll see some level of detail pop in on faraway objects, like you can see here with the building that the sniper's in. This happens to a couple of buildings throughout this area. It's a shame, really, because without these level of detail pop-in issues, it's actually a very, very nice looking area. And it's very well designed as well. This sniper section is actually quite good. Reasons being is that these kind of zombies that you're seeing pop up now and then, they kind of constantly harass the player. They're never really a threat unless you leave them alone to kind of mass up in numbers. And the area is open enough that you can see them coming, but because of the, you know, the time pressure and the fact that you're concentrating on being shot by the sniper, they tend to have a chance to kind of build up in numbers, and kind of when you do have to retreat back or something, there's about 4 or 5 zombies behind you slowly catching up, which is a great way to handle the kind of back spawning issue you see in a lot of games where enemies will just appear behind you and attack. In this case, the enemies aren't really a threat unless you have to retreat. So I think it works really nicely, and there's just enough of them for it to be interesting. There's not enough of them for it to be annoying. So he struck a very, very fine balance there. You'll notice here I have to run back to avoid the combine grenade, and there's a couple of zombies behind me, and I nearly get clocked by one of them. It's nice, and it adds a little bit of pressure for you to keep on moving forwards because, you know, you haven't got infinite ammo here, but there's just enough to keep you stocked up. But supplies are still rationed enough to make you feel a little bit of pressure to keep moving forward. Now, talking about the sniper here, for the most part, it's set up very nicely. There's enough cover. Generally, when he is shooting at you, it's quite obvious kind of where he's shooting from and where the cover is. The only section I got kind of confused by with this part here, you'll see you basically have two choices, right? You can go through the train car here, or there's another door to the side. So the train car's pretty dangerous. It's basically a direct sight line into the sniper, so it's probably not a very good choice, but this other way has a very little cover, so I just decided to use my noggin a bit here and see if I could use a barrel as some cover while I leg it across this open space. Now, I would have preferred the barrel to be upright, but unfortunately you cannot rotate props you're holding. Pro tip for Half-Life 3 Valve. So it pretty much works. I mean, I don't know if that's what the author intended or whether it's just a nice bit of emergent behaviour there, but it works well enough. It's nice if you can just put these little nuggets of gameplay in where the player can work things out for themselves. So yeah, talking about the visuals for a moment here, I really like the lighting in this area here. I mean, basically it is just practically a sunlight, right, with some ambient light as source allows, but the values he's used are actually really well done. You'll see it better when we get into some of the later areas of the map, but the indoor lighting it really makes you feel like the light has bounced in from outdoors, where in a lot of maps, now obviously light does bounce in the light calculations for source when you compile your map, but in a lot of maps you don't really get that sense that it does. I mean, in some strong cases, like bright spotlights aimed at certain things, you can kind of tell that the light has bounced around the corner, but for the most part it's not really very obvious. In this map the lighting does a really good job of kind of letting light pour in around corners from the outside into the indoor areas. And there's a great area which I'll point out in later on, but for the most part you can kind of see here even. You get a nice kind of global illumination style effect. Again, you'll notice here, like, he's using the same vista again as you come out onto this kind of terrace here. You see the same vista but from a different angle, and this is repeated multiple times throughout the map. It serves as a really nice backdrop. And I like the way that he kind of changes up the gameplay as you go through the map as well. So you're fighting a sniper and zombies at the beginning, and now you're kind of progressing into the facility, and this is combine enemies. This area is really nice. It's almost like you're not in an area, you're just kind of strung up above it, and there's just, you feel like like a hamster going through a little hamster maze or something. Really nice. So I like this combat here as well. You've got Combine that can shoot down from above or take the low path down into the arena with you. Then you've got this kind of loop on the ground floor here which provides some cover and some choice to the player about how they want to do this. Now, it might just be me losing my mind slowly, but I'm sure that your view doesn't kind of glow white when you're hit. I don't remember Half-Life doing that. Maybe it's something new in this mod. I'm not really a fan of it. I'm going to sound like an idiot if it's been like that in Half-Life all the time. I just don't remember it being that way. I really don't like it. But anyhow, so you can see here, you just kind of like, you've got light pouring in through these small windows on the side here, and it kind of illuminates the entire room. So it's a nice effect. I mean, you could argue that perhaps the lighting looks a bit flat here, and yeah, I'd agree. But I think if you take into account the aesthetic of the entire map, and it's a very consistent look, and I enjoy it. The first time I played through this map, this door got me. I got hit by the sniper there. It was a very cute idea. So again here, we've come back out into this vista again. You can actually see that the building there is where we started the map. All those containers there is where we were fighting past the zombies. Again, it's just a great use of the same area over and over again. Again, I love the way having the sniper up in that tower like that. It acts as a focal point for the map. It's like it's the same kind of idea behind the Citadel in City 17. When you see it, as soon as you get into City 17 in Half-Life 2, you see the Citadel in front of you, and you kind of know that that's where you're going to go throughout the game. The same idea here. You kind of know that you're going to go up to that sniper's nest and take him out. So that plaza area that I just ran across was the first time I did that. I kind of ran behind the building I'm in now, and it was just a dead end with nothing there, which was a bit annoying. I was expecting at least some supplies or, you know, a weapon or something, but there's just nothing there if you go that way, which, yeah, considering I lost a bunch of health and armor getting there was a little bit annoying. I had to use my bowel trick as well. Yeah, it would have been nice to have some bigger reward for going that way and finding something. So it's nice that the combat escalates in difficulty as well. So here, we're not just dealing with zombies and a sniper now, we've got combine soldiers and a sniper, which are a little bit more of a dangerous combination. Especially when they kind of throw grenades to flush you out into the sniper's vision. It's a great combo of enemies. And again, we've got the back spawning combine in the area we just came from. And now they're shooting at us from the balcony we jumped down off of. So now we're getting into kind of the third part of the map, I suppose you could say, where we get into this kind of industrial building. And I've just got to say, this building here is awesome. I think I'll look up at it in a second, and it's a brilliant design. I love it. It reminds me of what part of it was it? There's an area in Half-Life 2 where you kind of go into this giant kind of industrial building, and it's just got this huge roof towering above you. It might be like a cement factory or something like that. It's one of my favourite areas in the entire original game of Half-Life 2. Unfortunately, I can't remember exactly where it is. It's been a while since I've played, but this building here reminds me of that area a lot, and it's a brilliant design. Again, it's kind of that thing I mentioned in a previous video. It's the climbing frame effect. You look at this building that's got all these kind of walkways and towers on it, and all these little things that you want to explore, and it just makes you want to find out what's in there. Now, this area here, I hope I look up to show you guys, but it's another great example of the lighting kind of filling out the area from these small sources. Just looks really, really nice. Again, reminds me of the original Half-Life 2 a lot, the lighting style. It's very, very cool. Now, some of the areas here are a little bit under-detailed. This area is fine. There's a couple of corridors and like stairwells and things like that from now on, which are basically just box rooms, right? Which is a bit of a shame. But hey, I guess we can't have everything. In this area was kind of where I was really looking forward to killing that sniper finally, so I was kind of rushing forwards to try and get to him. That's one of the most satisfying things in Half-Life, is just killing a sniper that's been harassing you for a while. And once again we get the Vista. So I think he's reused this Vista 5 or 6 times now, and yeah, brilliant use of it. It looks good enough that it never gets boring, and you're always kind of seeing it from a new angle, which keeps it fresh. Again, you can see some of the level of detail pop in there, which is a real shame. It does detract from it a bit, but we live and learn, I suppose. This is a stairwell I'm talking about. It's just It's just a boxy stairwell. No real detail at all. It's a bit of a shame. And you've got some light bleeding in from up above there, which is again, it's a shame. I think that's supposed to use detail brushes for the floor there. Now, talking about the difficulty for a moment, while we fight these guys, again, it's another one of my common complaints of Half-Life 2 maps is that it's generally just too easy. I mean, unless you really mess it up in the first area when you're fighting the sniper and the zombies. If you let the sniper get a couple of good hits on you, then you'll be in trouble, but for the most part, this map is very easy. Whenever you take any damage whatsoever, there's always like 2 or 3 supply crates in the next room. So there's never really any danger of dying, unless you really do screw things up quite spectacularly. And there we are, the sniper is dead. And once again, we get the vista. Which still looks good, even from this distance, so that's nice. Now we come to the final area. Possibly my favourite part of this map, actually. I won't spoil it for you guys, so I'll wait for it to kick off. But again, we've got some nice lighting here. I love the way just the ambient light fills the rooms. I think that's a really nice effect. It's very easy to things like that to get washed out, just for the map to look very dull. He's done a very good job here of keeping things interesting, even with big fill lights like that. So this next area, it's a combat scenario, and it kind of plays on the player's expectations a bit of what they should do, and it produces a very healthy dose of fear, which is kind of what the map is banking on to make the whole sequence work, really. It gives you the illusion of choice when really there isn't. I'm being intentionally cryptic, so I don't want to spoil it for you guys just yet. Okay, so we've got a hunter. And there is in fact another one. There are 2 hunters. And when I first started playing this the first time, I just figured I would kill them all. But in actual fact, they just keep on coming. And once you start to take enough damage, you know, you kind of start to panic a bit and okay, I better get out of here, I better find some supplies before I die, right? And it turns into a brilliant chase sequence where you're kind of running around trying to survive, and every time you kill a hunter, another one will spawn in somewhere. So it keeps you moving, keeps you on your toes. The route you take it's a linear route, but with a couple of little side areas, and it's paced just well enough to kind of keep you scared that you're about to die without actually killing you, which is a feat, I must say. And then we fall to our death. So yeah, the entire sequence happens very quickly, but as you're playing, the psychology is just right, so that you're thinking, okay, I'm going to run, I need to get away from these guys and find some supplies. And it just works really well. I was very impressed by it. Unfortunately, I didn't record my very first playthrough of this map, but when you first see the first 2 hunters, I stayed in that room for about, I don't know, 5-6 minutes just killing hunters, and I was like, right, okay, I guess they're just going to keep coming then. And when they eventually did get me low enough to kind of run and find some supplies, you kind of enter this chase sequence, and I was very impressed by it. Alright guys, well that was Overawe, and let me know what you think in the comments. I really enjoyed this map. It was short but very sweet, and I will see you next time.